Saphinde satheleka thina mbukele nentandokazi yohlelo ilungelo lakho, it's your right, la mamba phambili SABC 1 uMzansi for sure. Uhleli noKasjongo uMangwane, ngithi nje hey babukeli safa amakhaza, sithemba ukuthi nifudumele lapho nikhona. Mbukeli ke baningi abahlale phela belwa bebanga izindlu zomndeni eshiwe yihlobo esezadlula emhlabeni. Many of us are very familiar nezitori ezinjena emakhaya emalokishini. Kwenziwa njani ke uma ikhaya lomndeni selithengisiwe phela ngendlela mbumbulu elinye lelungu lomndeni? Asingene endabeni yethu.
Ukuthenga nokuthengiswa kwezindlu into eqhelekileyo. Ubona indlu kuvunyelwana ngemali kutyikityo amaxwebhu ebhanka kuphele into ebithethwa. Kodwa uthini xa ufunisa ukuba kukho unyawo lwemfene kule ndlu yakho ebhongo? Le ndlu likhaya losapho lakwaZipeqengeshe, nto ibingakhange ikhankanywe ngelixa bekuthethwa. Abantu abaninzi badibene nengxaki yokuthenga izindlu ezithethisayo. Sithetha ngezindlu ezishiywe ngabazali ngenjongo zokusingatha bonke abantwana kunye namasiko ekhaya. Uthafara Mokwani ligqwetha linceda abantu abagaxeleke kukruthakrutwano manokuba kubani kanye umnini wekhaya.
The family home disputes are very common here in Johannesburg especially, because remember during apartheid they used this permit system whereby there are 6 people on the permit, they are siblings, they're staying together. Then you discover at the time that the old men that were there, the old man that died, they called the families, the siblings, they come here at the housing department and they say one person on the title deed, because it was the issue of title deeds now. So you discovered that people that were 6 on the permits, now they wanted one person. Somehow these other 5, they will sign and say they're giving the property to one person. And then when the children of this one particular person grows up and life goes on, they try to chase everybody out. And it was a family house, but now it has changed. It's now being owned by one person.
Uthi ingxaki ivela xa omnye uzalwane esebenzisa igunya lithi nguye onelungelo lokulawula imiba yendlu leyo, okuquka nokuyithengisa xa ethandile. Kungoku uphethe umba osapho olulwa nomzukulwana obanga indlu ekhaya ngelithi uchithe imali eninzi elungisa indlu leyo. Ubunzulu bale ngxaki bubonakala xa indlu ithengiswa ngaphandle kwemvume yabo bonke abanebango. Lo ithengayo usenokuphela engawubeki nokubeka umcondo wakhe kuyo. Yiyo loo nto izilumkiso zlohlobo akufunekanga zityeshelwe. Umzizivuyo usebenza kwiofisi elawula amafa afana nezindlu ezishiywe ngabasekhoyo, iMaster of the High Court ngolwasemzini. Uthi ingxaki ibangelwa kungazi into yokuba athini amagunya womntu ochongwe ukuba makalawule impahla eshiywe ngabasekhoyo.
It is very important for whoever is appointed and reflected there on the letter of authority to have a clear understanding that his mandate as the person who is nominated is only to transfer all the assets mentioned there on that letter of authority to all the beneficiaries. So it does not entitle him to claim ownership of whatever it is that is reflected there. That perception is so rife amongst our communities because people, when they come here, say for instance, family members approach our office and come to report the estate here, and say for instance it's 5 beneficiaries, and they decide to nominate one amongst them. And then that one, after receiving the letter of authority, he now goes all the way to claim whatever it is that was left by the deceased as his or her own. So that is rife, it's rife. And when family members come here, they are advised clearly that are you sure that the person that you are nominating here is the person that you will trust to perform or execute his duties as required by the Act.
Ingaba amalungelo akho athini xa uzifumana uthenge indlu exoxisayo? Ingaba yakwazi na ukuhlangula imali obesele uyikhuphile? Yaye kuselungelweni na ukuthengisa indlu eshiyelwe izizukulwana ezingekazalwa? Kuvuyisile Mdoda, ilungelo lakho.
Sibonga kakhulu ngalo mbiko ke mbukele and manje masamukele izivakashi zethu phela ukusidingidisa kabanzi lolu daba lethu. Sinaye uBud Rufus Ramoneta, yena ke uyi Deputy Master of the High Court alongside untokazi la usisinomathemba George, yena ke ungummeli wethu namhlanje. Ladies and gentlemen, sanibonani, let me start with the ladies. Sisinothemba kunjani? Ndiphilile. Welcome back to the show ntokazi. Maybe very quickly before sizwa ngoBud Rufus ukuthi mhlambe yena usebenza kanjani. Sisinothemba, I mean we are born inside. One thing that I found very interesting there is that kuthiwa nobody has sole entitlement of leyo family home. Even if kushiwe ama beneficiaries awu-30, nobody can then just go and decide on their own ukuthi ahamba ayodayisa indlu. How true is this and how does it apply?
I think ingxaki sisi iqala kulanto ye-permit. I-permit sisinganibala kowenu nibe yi-7 okanye nibe yi-10 njengoba usitsho. But ufumanisa uba umuntu okwi-title deed uyi-1. Kufanele nje i-housing nomasipala balungise leyo nto leyo. Kufanele i-beneficiaries zonke sisizibe kwi-title deed.
Okay.
Because once ube kwi-title deed igama lakho libe kwi-title deed, you have all the right title and interest kuleyo property. And xa usiza kum ndiyiconvince uphethe le title deed, sibona igama lakho senze deed search, yonke into iyafana, siyaqhubeka siyi-transfer property.
And you can't prove about kukho disputes around this matter xa ubona leyo letter of authority?
No, i-permit sisiliphepha nje elingenayo, elingenasisindo, elingenasixa. Elona phepha elinesixa yi-title deed. So makulungiswe indaba ze-title deed. Zonke i-beneficiaries mazifakwe zonke. Lento ba kuthiwa kuchongwa umuntu oyi-1 sisokanye unyana wekhaya uba ibe nguye yedwa oku-title deed, imnika amandla onke walandlu uba angenza nantoni nayifunayo. Umuntu atshate futhi asweleke, emva kubetshatile utshate in-community of property.
That house is attached.
Yes, unkosikazi uno-50% legally. Xa ibhubha unkosikazi indlu iwela kuye mhlambi yonke nabantwana bakhe. Abanye abapha kwi-permit akho mandla abanawo angako. And ukureverse title deed ku-expensive, kufuneka kuyiwe high court uba kuyoreverswa kuprove uba kwakutheni. Kodwa eyona document into endifuna uyicacise sisiyi-title deed enamandla. Abantu mabe ku-title deed bangabikho kwi-permit.
Okay. But Rufus, maybe let's backtrack a little bit. How does it even get to a point where let's say a family member has bestowed the house to the rest of our beneficiaries? Let's say it's kids, abahlalapo, it's the cousins and abantwana babo. I mean, lo mntu obviously ubhale either a will or some sort of a letter of authority which permits this person uba abe the legal guardian of the estate. But akatsho pha uba they must actually sell this house. When do they then have that authority? Njengoba sitsho usisi uba with that permit they can actually take decisions of which baze bafike kunina and verify uba actually I have sole beneficiaries or sole benefits towards this house.
Look, it's really important for the viewers to understand that a letter of appointment or letter of executorship or letter of authority is not, it does not authorize or give you the ownership towards the house. Let's talk about the house, movable property.
Yes.
You still need to transfer that property into a specific person from the deceased name to the rightful beneficiaries.
Okay.
Yes. So it's really important that people should not construe the letter of authority or letter of executorship as the title give you the right to ownership of that immovable properties. Yes.
Okay, so then how would the process unfold? Let's say kusweleka a grandma ubehleli nesizukulwane sakhe with the kids and the grandkids there, and uyasweleka, and she knows uba the people that are in that house are actually everybody's dependent in that house. Kufike u-auntie usisinotheba afike pha, and then she decides uba you know what, she's not even going to include these kids uba maybe she appears on the will as the legal guardian, but then she's going to chase everybody out of the house and go and sell the house. Ifika njani kunina? How does it get there?
Look, it's when it gets to us, firstly it's when they report the estate. Normally it's those people who have been appointed to administer the estate. they are the one who actually
Arising from a will or...
Well, if you've been appointed in terms of the will, it's better because that we know that is the wishes of the deceased.
But Rufus, we know people can forge wills these days.
100%.
So, you know?
It's very rough. We know that one for sure. What we do, we have a measurement in place where we test the validity of the will. It must be in compliance with the requirements of the will. And of course, if I know it can be forged, and sometimes we can't detect that it's been forged, and we will accept it as a valid will, which I know it's a little bit unfair to
the other beneficiaries.
Other beneficiaries, yes. But I will always emphasize that it's important that people of Makaya, they must do a will. A will save us a lot of troubles because we know that is the intention of the deceased to give a house to whoever. Even if they are saying that this is a house this is a family house, it's clear, and they must make it very clear that it's a family house and the people who should enjoy the benefit of this house, it should be 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so they must put specific names just to brush out the confusion.
Because you see, the problem will arise where one of the beneficiary died and the child comes also and now try to influence the others, or whoever is having that letter can go without the
input of the rest of the
other beneficiaries and change the properties.
Yo mbukeli ku complicated ngempela ake sithi shwinga sayitolo ngasithinta ke ocingweni 0117140669 alternatively 7140670 consumer@sabc.co.za. Those are the contact numbers. Ungasithola futhi na ku Facebook as well as on Twitter. We're back shortly after this. Ngayindawo. Bukeli, welcome back. Sengiyavula ke manje izingcingo 0117140669 alternatively 7140670 consumer@sabc.co.za. Noma usithinto na social media platforms. Ngikhuluma ngaye uFacebook noma uTwitter. Ngihleli la noBot Rufus Ramonethe, who's a Deputy Master of the High Court, alongside intokazi uSisinothemba George, who is an attorney. Mbukeli, sikhuluma ngama disputes ke avela ekutheni uthola ukuthi ugogo noma umkhulu unishiyele indlu noma bazali kushone oyi1 bese kuthiwa anisenayo indlu, kuqhamuka umuntu nje wefamily athathe leyo ndlu anikhiphe nenanixosha athi indlu isidayisiwe. Sikhuluma ngokuthi ke iziphi izinto ekumele nizibheke nokuthi ningagijimelaphi. Now uSisinothemba, not everybody can afford to resolve this legally, because when we talk about the nature of these disputes, zenzeke emakhaya, most yazo zenzeke emalocation. Abanye abantu abaningi bebengazi nokuthi ungabiza ummeli, abanye most yabo cannot even afford a lawyer. So what are the other avenues ongaba advise ukuthi if uzifumana wena usengxakini, so where can you go if you cannot afford a lawyer?
Bangaya sisabantu legal aid, sikhona ne-vets clinic assistayo, sikhona ne-attorneys offera i-pro bono ukuzama ukunceda ngoba reverse i-title deed kufune kuyi-high court, i-magistrate court ayinayo jurisdiction yokureversa i-title deed. Ama-facts xa we-right sisi e-court ziprove ezinye beneficiaries uba besi-entitled kule ndlu, mhlambi ke yathengiswa ngendlela engekho right, lo muntu wathi uyedwa ekhaya thina wasishiya wasifihla emasters uba nathi singabantwana bomufi bekungena will okanye will le ifojiwe. I-court ziyayenza i-justice zoba ziyi-reverse i-title deed back to umfi, then umaster naye uyazikhansela ileta eziye zaphuma ngendlela engekho right, bayikhansela lo leta leyo, kukhutshwe enye leta i-right ibuyele kumfi ikwazi ukuba ibuyele ke kubantu aba-right. Into enzima sisukuba uthola uba nalo muntu oyithengileyo le ndlu beyithenge ngebond, abantu abaninzi uthola bebhatala i-rent, bebhatala nebond, abakwazi ungena ezindlini ngenxa yoba lo muntu othengisileyo bengenalungelo inintsi fraud ayenzileyo wafihla izinto ezininzi.
But then, but Rufus, I mean, Isn't there a system or policy that you guys have in place where you can actually run a check if there's no disputes around a certain property or estate? We want to change over ama title deeds.
Yes, we do. We do have a system in place.
How rigorous is it though?
Well, they also circumvent it. You know, I'm talking about those who are fraudsters or something like that. But we have a check and balances. If the property is in the name of the deceased and they want to transfer it to whoever, they first have to go through us. That is applications. We call it a 42-2 endorsement, where we check as to whether indeed the property belongs to the deceased, and does it really need, the person who's want to get the ownership, is he entitled for that? And if that is the case, then it will be transferred. We will approve that, and then it will go to the deeds office. That's where they will do the transfer of ownership.
Oh, okay. Yes, all right. Yes. Okay, I guess thathe izingcingo laphayana zamokuhle eSoweto siyakwamukela ohlelweni umbuzo noma umbono.
Sanibonani njani?
Siyaphila nsizwa njani wena?
Hayi, siyaphila sinezwa nina nje ngomakhaza.
Hayi, siyaphila nsizwa sifudumele nje, sithemba nawe ukuthi ufudumele uba se something lapho. Awusibuza umbuzo nsizwa noma ubeka umbono?
Ngicela ukubuza mina nginosisi wami walahlekelwa umkhonyana wakhe beshadile, umshado okuhlanganisa amafa, then banendlu, then manje abasemzini wakhe bafuna ukumbuya bamthengela abantu bathi uyena owenza ukuthi lahleke umkhonyana. Kwa-reportwa i-missing ngo-2020 manje ivesi ikhokhile yaqedwa, i-Standard Bank asifuni ne-title deed and iyona ebambile ukuthi ethengisa. Yini mhlawumbe angayenza engamsiza ngokufuna ukumuva khona?
Okay, awuqale phansi insizwa futhi ngikuzwisise kahle, ngiyaxolisa ngikuzwisanga kahle musaqala. Uthi usisi wenze njani?
Usisi walahlekelwa umkhwenyana beshadile, umshado wabo lokuhlanganisa amafa.
Okay.
Banendlu ukhona eSoweto, then ifamily yakubo kwandoda kasisi iyamlwisa.
Okay.
Bathi uyena owenza ukuthi ubhuti wabo enyamalale, bamthengele abantu ukuthi bembulala, uhleli kabuhlungu, usefuna ukumuva nabantwana manje ukuthi akekho safe. Then into embambile i-title deed, ngoba i-title deed uStandard Bank uyibambile awufuni nayo, kodwa laba bantu bashade umshado okuhlanganisa amafa.
Okay, so ufuna ukudayisa indlu sisi ahambe because bayamhlupha bomndeni ekhweni?
Yebo.
Oh, okay, manje akakhona ukuthi adayise indlu baba because kunelokhuzana akakhona ukuthi athole i-title deed. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but zamokuhle siyezwa lapho nsizwa. Sisinothamba ke siqale is there anything eningasister ngayo pha?
Ewe ikhona amajali, ndingathi nje kubabukeli umuntu xa isweleka i-death certificate kwayona iyatsho ba married, unmarried,
in community of property or not.
Ayidicacise ke majali uba in community or out of community, kodwa iyatsho uba njengoba uswelekile ubungumuntu otshadileyo.
Okay.
So usisi unelungelo lo-masters office andanobe beseyile na emaster, kodwa ke majali mandicacise nento yasemaster uba izizigaba ezibini. If indlu or i-assets zomfi zi-250,000 ukuya phansi, masithi indlu nje ne-cash yonke into, ungaya e-masters office uzayifumana ileta futhi uzoyifumana same day. E-ground floor apha eJohannesburg 88 Marshall Street, awuzufuna lawyer. Kodwa uba i-assets zomfi zi-more than 250,000, umaster uzokuxelela bafune kuye eloyini, because umuntu one-assets as more than 250, yi-lawyer ekufanele ikufumanele ileta, and lo letter leyo ibizwa by letter of executorship.
Okay.
I hope usisi ke uyifumene ileta, ngoba usisi njengoba engunkosikazi ungoyena onelungelo, ngaphandle babe kune will mhlambi appointe i-lawyer, lo will ke yatsho uba ilifa lomfi malihambe kanjani. Kodwa ke ubakho will izawulandela i-process ye-interstate succession, apho ungena will ize kuye nabantwana. Le athetha ngayo ubhuti yasebank ndiyasola amajali laa ndlu leyana ibine-bond. Indlu ene-bond, i-title deed ihlala ebank.
Okay, njengemoto. With certificate of ownership. Usifumana after you finish paying off imoto.
Yes. So bekufanele ke usisa ayoqonda ebank uba bekusema khona imali ezowishwayo okanye bebegqibile ubhatala okanye zikhona i-insurance ezikhoyo uba zicime elatyala azokwazi uba afumane i-title deed. Angayifumani nje i-transfer indlu egameni lakhe. Engusisi mhlambi nabantwana ke kuyaxhomekeka amajali uba imalini na. Umzekelo indlu ye-500,000 ukuyezantsi xa nitshate community of property noba abantwana bakhona akho nto bayifumanayo ngoba i-250 yi-share yakhe, i-250 into ebizwa uba yi-child share. So xa utshate in community of property aswele kumyeni okanye unkosikazi indlu yi-500,000 noba abantwana bakhona mhlawumbi nabakhona abantwana abangaphandle ayikho into abazoyifumana kwi-500,000 bawuqala ufumana xa kuyamo. So ubhuti nje usisi ufanele afumane lawyer. Indlela le ndibona ngayo umajali le ndlu andiboni uba mhlawumbi ngayi-250,000 uyezantsi imncedisa ukuhamba zonke ezi steps whether ngu-interstate succession or kune-will kuzokhanselwa nezibond. Unfortunately imali ke once ibe letter of executorship i-lawyer iyacharger for ukuwinder up estate. It's called winding up estate first. Siye ku-colleague master's office siyoreporta thina izamaloya kusayine wonke umuntu onelungelo lokusayina kuphuma ileta ezo siqhubeke nge-winding up until umaster athi we can distribute the assets to the beneficiaries. Yes.
All right. This Nothemba, please hold that thought because I really want to take a break because ndifuna ukuva neside le Deputy Master of the High Court uba how can they then assist. Mbukeli, we're coming back shortly after this break. Ungayindawo. Mugeli, welcome back. 011-714-0669, alternatively 714-0670, consumer@sabc.co.za, or catch us on our social media platforms. I'm still with Ubud Rufus Ramoneta, who's the Deputy Master of the High Court, alongside Intokaze Usis Nothemba George, who's an attorney. Basiza ke Mbukeli ukuthi sazi ukuthi uma wena ushiyelwe ikhaya ngaphansi komufi ebenimthanda family member ugogo umama ubaba one share namanye ama beneficiaries uthola ukuthi one wama beneficiaries mhlawumbe ubephethe iletter ye permit or authority avana hamba yodayisa le ndlu nina ansenayo indawo yokuhlala. Ungasithinta ke Mbukeli sibone ukuthi singakusiza kanjani. Sisadinga indaba kazama okuhle la eSoweto. But Rufus, I mean, what do you read into this? Because we're talking of ukuthi we didn't get the gist of how Usisi was actually married. Maybe it was customary marriage. How then does it differ from umshado or normal versus a customary marriage when it comes to ilokuzana estate here deceased and ukuthi indlu izodividwa kanjani? And do the in-laws have any legal rights ukuthi bavane bafike just because they suspect ukuthi the wife is responsible for the husband's death, bafike bathi she does not have rights to the house and they want to kick her out with the kids?
I think it's important to mention that the customary marriage and the civil marriage, they are both marriage. They are both recognized as marriage.
Absolutely.
But you realize that in terms of a customary marriage, there is a tendency of the family of the deceased who will come and or in fact even dispute that they recognize the surviving spouse, the marriage, you see. And that's where this problem start to
So what do you advise then there? Because, I mean, if your family does not accept, I mean, Uguti, you negotiated lobola and lobola was paid and that customary marriage was registered. What am I supposed to do? You are my husband already.
Yeah, it's important that if you're married in terms of customary marriage, you need to quickly go and register that marriage with the Home Affairs so that it can be recognized. Although customary marriage, irrespective whether you've registered or not, it's a valid marriage. But now when it comes to legal documents, we will prefer that that person register that customary marriage, and once he registered the customary marriage, then he will enjoy the privilege of being in the privilege of that marriage. And again, the in-laws, they have no right whatsoever in terms of trying to influence as to how the estate should be distributed. Yes, that's the most important thing. Yes.
Even if they dispute, even if bayasola ukuthi umufi ubulawe through the hands of this woman, I mean, nothing has been proven.
Nothing has been proven, and the fact remains that there's a surviving spouse, and that surviving spouse is the one who's supposed to report the estate to the master, obviously through the assistance of the attorney, or alternatively, if the value is less than 250, she can approach us, and then we'll be able to help her.
Okay.
Yeah, free of charge. Yes.
All right, let's go back to the callers now. Sino Tabiso from Mthatha. Tabiso, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Singakunceda kanjani today?
Mna siswami ndicela ukubuza ne.
Webut.
Xa ebengekaziregistari izinto ngekho egama lakhe zingekakhutshelwa title deeds yenzeka njani case enjalo?
Okay, umfi engakaregister intoni Butabiso indlu okanye i-estate yakhe intoni abengakayiregister or i-marriage?
I-estate yakhe like umzi makebethenge umzi kuloo ndawo okanye isite wayeyokha.
Okay, all right, so indlu, oh, okay, so there was still a site, mhlambe bengakakhiwa, and maybe the house was built, but it wasn't registered with the municipality.
Maybe naye beseyokhile.
Oh, okay. All right. But Rufus, is there anything we can help with there?
Let me try to understand the question. Question is that, what is the question? Is
basically
the deceased left the house
exactly unregistered,
but it was not registered with the master.
Yes,
right.
It hasn't been registered yet because either the site has just been bought or the house was still in the process of being built.
Yes. Yeah, that is not a problem. But what you do, we have the so-called, it's a form, we call it inventory. In that inventory, whoever report the estate will indicate that there is this earth whatever or stand number so and so, maybe with the estimated value of X amount of money. It should be reported.
Okay.
Everything that belongs to the deceased must be reported with us, so that we can be able to distribute it accordingly to the relevant beneficiaries.
Okay.
So if that property is not being yet registered with the deeds office, it's not a problem. It must be reported with us, but at the later stage, with the hope that it will eventually be registered at the deeds office to the relevant beneficiaries. Yes.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
Yes,
but then, I think this is where the dispute would arise then, Rufus, is in who then has the right to go and report this estate, mufi, the deceased,
Yes.
because is it either the parents, the parents, baswelekile, who then goes, unless there is a will that stipulates there's an attorney who's the executor of the will or umtu or nominating.
Yes, it depends. Let's say that brother, he left the wife. The wife will report the estate.
Okay.
If maybe he's not married, assume he's not married, then the parents or the children, depending, let's say he's not married,
immediate
but he does
family.
have the children.
Okay.
The children can report the estate. If no children, the parents can report the estate. If no parents, the siblings can report the estate. So it will be like it's in terms of interstate succession.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so the
yes.
oldest relative uzoba nguye illegal guardian and who
so
can actually
correct.
go
Yes,
and report.
yes,
And
yes.
assuming uba we can trust that person uba uzotayo report they're not going to be speaking lies. Sis Nothemba, I mean, you were talking about something very, very interesting before we went to the ad break. I mean, winding up the estate. Process, what does that process involve? And very quickly before we go ad break.
Winding up of the estate majali ingaithatha 3 to 6 months.
Okay, this happens immediately after umfi eseshonile and the estate has been reported to the master of the High Court.
No, actually, Majali, what happens is beneficiaries after kusweleki will come to you
Okay.
as a lawyer. Beze bonke bengabantwana. If by 5 they will nominate one child.
Okay.
Umaster uzifuna documents in original format. So bazofaka ezo documents bese sozifaka kwa masters sifumane letter kuthiwa letter of executorship.
Okay.
Then from there ke sizokwenza i-notices ekuthiwa notice in terms of section 29 where si advertise emaphepheni ukuthi so and so is actually passed away, this is the estate number, nazi office zenu, si reporte ku master wase Johannesburg okanye wase Pitori lo master reporte kuye.
Okay.
So bonke abantu abakolotwa ngulomuntu sicela bas contact.
Oh, I
Yes.
see.
Then umaster naye ke uzawuhlala alinde nathi silinde, then ke if uzikhona claims or azikho kuzoxhomekeka. Kodwa ke i-process Majali ehamba ade umaster athi ninga distributor ke ngoku khona no section 35 kuye lonto nimane advertiser, then ke umaster nguye ozotsho ba ngoku you can distribute to the beneficiaries nisibe sinikeza i-proof ke ngozoba ni distributile ezi if ukhona nezindlu ukhole kwam aba endorsement i-power of attorneys endoswayo.
Okay.
Mangaba kuthengisiwe zingena xa kulapho Majali.
Oh,
So iye
okay.
ibe yilo process enjalo.
All right. Okay, ithi ngithatha usisithandeka very quickly at Davidton before ngiya ekhefini. Sisithandeka sakwamukela ntokazi ohlelweni singakunceda njani today?
Bengicela ukubuza like ngicela i-assistance regarding i-topic lenikhuluma ngayo.
Yebo sis.
Umalume wami uyile washona, bengashadanga.
Okay.
And then indlu yakhe bekayibhalise ngomntana wakhe oyi-firstborn oshonile. So kuthe masiphitheka umngcwabo kamalume kwavela i-girlfriend esingayazi nathi female.
Awu.
Nakafika la ntombazana lena, okay, salungisa saphitheka like i-funeral and everything. After lapho ugeli wathatha indlu wahamba waya emasters e-high court eJohannesburg wayofayila i-letter of authority.
How?
Ukuthi bese sibuyile nase-court ukuthi ilontuzana i-case le eyase regarding like if uyiluzile, but to our surprise uyile wahamba wayoyenza i-letter of authority.
How?
eJohannesburg High Court.
Okay. All right. So at this stage, Sisithandeka nimi kuphi manje? Have you been able to hustle the house back, or are you still in the legal disputes now?
No, we didn't. We were not able to continue with anything because of already basically signed the letter of authority in Masters High Court.
Okay. Uthi unabantwana nomalume wenu nike nambona nje before Sisithandeka.
Cha, zakhe simbone because simbona manje ngesifo sikaMalume.
So uthi iproof anayo yini ukuthi anibonise nina njengefamily ukuthi kahle kahle wejola nomalume wezwana nomalume, and here is iproof yokuthi kwaphela umalume bekumele abhale kwiwili or something ukuthi uyena ozothatha over i-estate yakhe. Liphi lelo phepha lakhe lisho njalo?
Nathi into esixakayo leyo because there's nothing. Umalume i-death certificate yakhe iyasho ukuthi he was never married. And then apparently masekashona kuvela i-girlfriend iclaima indlu ithi yena uyi-girlfriend kamalume umfazi wakhe like nje.
Hayibo Sisithandeka ayikakadayiswa lendlu.
Asazi because besithina singenza i-letter of authority ne.
Yeah.
And then izinto zikamalume zithathwe ubabakhe umkhulu wethu.
Manje Sisithandeka
Konke
many a master of the high court ifike yathini yona very quickly sis.
Masters High Court bele basitshela ukuthi angeke bakhona ukuyi-transfera bona since when like seyifayiliwe, and sababuza ukuthi kanjani because she doesn't have the relevant documents.
Okay.
Yes.
All right Sisithandeka. All right ke sana la. Nina ama documents okuprove ukuthi umalume wena ngithi ne death certificate.
Yebo, yonke into ikhona, everything is there.
All right.
Ubakade futhi nayo khona usaphila.
Okay siswami. All right ngicela ubuke lapho kumabona kude wakho sokuphendula emva kwaleli khefu. Mbukeli nawe please thatha ucingo lakho sikusize namhlanje mangabe unengxaki ye-family home ngoba phela siyabazi khona ongqesta abaqhamuka lapha esethi nje indlu eyakhe noma kade jola nomufi njengecase kaSisithandeka umuntu engakazi abone noma nje eneke ngisho ithawula lakhe lapho kamalume. Siyabuya emva kwekhefu ungayindawo.
Yilungelo
Bokele sidingida udaba lama family homes avane ashiyelwe umndeni amalungu omndeni. Uthola ukuthi kuzoba naleso siqengqeke siyi1 esibona ukuthi sona kuzoba ngcono ukuthi sixoxe wonke umuntu endlini adayisa indlu angaphi ngisho ukupha noma consultant nalabantu abashiyiwe ukuthi nabo bahlale kulendlu. Ungasifonela ke usithinte on our social media networks. My guest today uBodrufus Ramoneta yena kuyi Deputy Master of the High Court alongside intokazi la usisi Nothemba George yena ke ungummeli uyasiza ukuthi ke i-process kumele nilandele yenzeke kanjani ungayithola usuluze indlu. All right, let's go back to the callers before siphendula indaba kaSithandeka. Anonymous Soweto sekwamukela ohlelweni umbuzo noma umbono.
Hello njani mama?
Siyaphila nsizwe unjani wena?
Siyaphila mama.
Singakusiza kanjani baba?
Umbuzo wami mama, shuthi la ekhaya ne it's a family house.
Yebo baba.
Mina ngihlala ngumzukulu si family house sabasibaningi abazukulu bala ekhaya.
Okay.
So what happened is I discovered ukuthi mina ezingumzukulu kanje. Ngikhona kuyilentuzana kwi title deed.
Okay.
Yasejardini yala ekhaya.
Okay.
Indlu yashiwa ugogo nomkhulu.
Wena omdala input.
Mina ngakhuliswa ugogo nomkhulu.
Okay.
From ngisasemncane nje, ngakhuliswa ugogo nomkhulu.
Oh, so ukhule nabo.
Bashona.
Okay, all right.
So I discovered long time sebashonile ukuthi how igama lami liku title deed. Ngingazi nokwazi, ngingazi ukuthi igama lami liku title deed. Labona ifamily balibona legama leli.
Okay.
So into ezakalayo manje usele umamkhulu nomalume abahlali la endlini le family house. And ilentuzana into abafuna ukuyenza bafuna ukukhipha wonke umuntu ola ejardini so that bona bazofuna ukuthengisa indlu lena umalume no lentuzana.
No mamkhulu
Nomamkhulu bafuna ukukhipha wonke umuntu ola endlini. So asibabuza ngendaba ze title deed ukuthi i title deed yena ngoba nithi ngifuna ukuthi wonke iphi title deed.
Yeah.
But no, angeke singibone i-title deed. Abantu abangafuni nje abafuni ukusho ukuthi i-title deed kanjani. Bese babuza ukuthi i-title deed siyazi ukuthi mina njengoba mina ngikhona ku-title deed.
Yeah.
Bese bona bafuna ukuyi-dispute lento leyo bathi basasebhizi balungisa izinto. So bengifuna ukwazi ukuthi in order for ukuthi bangakhoni ukuthi bafuna bayenze lento bafuna ukuyenza ukuthi bathengise indlu ye-family. Yebo, so into i-process ekumele siyithathe into enjani emele siyenze njani leyo.
Okay, all right, ngiyabonga kakhulu Anonymous lapho eSoweto. Okay, ngoba Anonymous ufone eqala asiqale ngawe la. Yini angayenza sisinothemba ulokhuzana uAnonymous because I understand ukuthi he hasn't started the legal process because up until now kufika auntie no malume there hasn't been any issues with the house. They've been living there as the grandkids as the house was bestowed to them by the grandparents.
Anonymous majali andikho sure uba igama lakhe liku title deed kanjani whether liku title deed or ku permit na. I wonder abantu bayayazi na
I actually think I permit.
Into esolayo uba mhlambi ubone ipermit igama lakhe liku permit as umzukulwana ngoba andimva esithi from indlu iownwa ngugogo nomkhulu iye ya transferwa.
Okay.
Yenye ingxaki ke majali kwi communities zethu uyasweleka ugogo uthola ugogo waziswelekela kudala majali mhlambi ibinguye nomkhulu ku title deed ihlala ifamily kufanele xa kusweleka umkhulu itransfer indlu to ugogo.
Okay.
Then makusweleka ugogo itransfer ke ngoku to ebantwaneni.
The next of kin.
So i-communities zivele zihlala emajala kusweleka umkhulu kusweleka ugogo kusweleka i-siblings since kuhleliwe nje le title deed abareport bayahlala. Ibe ngumsebenzi onzima ke ngoku no expensive ukususa i-estates kuba fanele kuqalwe ilandwe emva kumkhulu iye kugogo isuke kugogo iye ebantwaneni.
Okay.
Yes, umalume nomalumekazi ndingazi kuba bona njengoba becinga uthengisa bazi owners na currently or bathengisa ngoba ke benento yoba bangabantwana bomfi mhlambi abashiyekileyo
Probably.
so bafuna uthengisa ngolohlobo ke
Okay, so what can Anonymous do to ascertain all this information that we are asking about case yakhe?
angenza i-deed search angenze e-deeds office e-ground floor e-Marble Towers athathe i-stand number mhlawumbe angathathe la phepha i-utility bill mhlawumbe uzongazi xa nithi i-stand number bayintoni i-utility bill ine-ERF number negama le-township because andithethi ngestrato sendlu ndithetha nge-stand number into ezothi ERF maybe 4152 sinawane kanjalo aye-deeds office e-ground floor i-less than 20 rand i-deed search so izamxelela uba ngubani owner yalandlu ngokwala mzuzu yenza i-deed search ikuxelela ngala mzuzu uba ngubani owner yalandlu
So he can do that without ummeli, without needing
no
you there?
ayifuni mmeli leyo
Okay, so he can just search, and then if he finds out uba since he's one of the people in the permits, then he has to go check ukuthi who is the house, the title deed still under.
uzawufumanisa majali the current owners of the house not i-permit mhlambi ndiyasola uzofumanisa uba kusekho igama likamakhulu notatomkhulu pha then ke ngoku kulapho ke ngokufanele ifamily iqale ezinto zokutransfera indlu
All right. Okay, but Rufus, let's take him Thandeka. We've got 2 minutes before at break. Usisithandeka uzwile story sakhe umalume bengashadanga ifirstborn nayo yashona girlfriend just rocked up after the funeral and then she comes back and says indlu eyami ngizoyidayisa in without the documentation. But what surprises us is that this title deed was actually transferred over to her or signed over to her, but she never had the proper documentation, including, very importantly, the death certificate. Some move.
Yeah, I would like to believe that the process followed in terms of reporting the estate were not correct.
Okay.
And I hear the caller saying that the advisor that they cannot cancel that letter of authority. We can, provided that it can be proven that indeed the process in terms the process of obtaining that letter of appointment was fraudulent. Then we can cancel it because we don't promote that.
But how do you prove that, Rufus? I mean, abantwana laba, they don't even know about where they're going to start. Already usisi usefika uyabaxosha ngisho endlini uzoclaim indlu kaMalume.
It's always simple to find the truth. The sisters to the deceased or anybody who's related to the deceased, they can produce the document, approach the master, or even alternatively go to the attorney and tell the attorney that this is what transpired, and the attorney will assist in trying to get more informations in order to disprove the lady that the process that were followed were incorrect. But how do you do that? Unfortunately, I know it's a cost exercise. They will have to go to court and tell the court that this person has got nothing to do with the estate and he obtained the document fraudulently, and they want to reverse that process. And once we get the court order, we can be able to change that. Alternatively, if by just mere perusing the file at the master's office and we find that there's some irregularities or something that cannot be justifiable, then we can call them and try to find out, including the lady who reported the estate, and find out how did he get to that. You know, I suspect maybe it might be that the lady maybe was having a chat with the uncle. I'm not sure.
She just had a relationship. She claims to have had a relationship, but nobody has ever even seen her at this house. Asibeke lapho Babu Rufus. We're going to take a quick ad break. Siyabuya mbukeli unga indawo. It's our final segment. I know this is a topical office, but issue. So please continue sending us those emails, those forward to Ulokuzana, Deputy Master of the High Court, as well as Usis Notemba, Yenage, who's an attorney. All right, so we've got some of your comments here on Facebook. Uti, hey, can I please be okay? Uti, my father passed away in 2018 December as my stepmom and my stepmother kicked me out of the house. When I try to get my father's ID and death certificate, she does not want. I was asking, where do I go to get help? Thank you very much. Very quickly, Sis Nothemba, where does she go?
Angayeloyeni okanye legal aid bakanamali, but if utata utshate in community of property and that house is less than 500,000, ayikho into azoyifumana engumntwana.
Okay.
Because in community of property, unfortunately, usebenza kanjalo.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we're not sure if she's there. So what if it's not the matter?
If it's not the matter, angaye eloyeni azokwazi ba alwele ishare yakhe.
Oh, okay. So just go to the lawyer and
Yes.
figure out what you are entitled to.
Yes.
All right, but Rufus, I mean, Mesasi Repalento, very quickly. I mean, how can you advise abantu ukuthi from the moment ukusweleka umufi, what is the first thing they need to do, particularly where there is a large group of family members residing in a specific family house and ama assets ekuzomela ukuthi adivide and mhlambe there is no will?
Yeah. Look, the most important thing, of course, they must have a meeting. Let them have a meeting. A way forward is to report the estate.
Okay.
Once they have a meeting, they must agree, Guti, who are they trusting to take this appointment at the master. They can nominate somebody else who is trustworthy, who is
even
who's
unrelated to them.
Well, even unrelated to them, yes.
Even better.
Even the lawyer can do that and give a bond of security, then he can take the appointment.
Okay.
Yes. And then after that, then they can come to us and report the estate. But it's very important that they have a meeting, they agree, and whoever has been appointed, he needs to inform them of everything that is happening, what has been realized, what is going to be distributed, and how is it going to be distributed. Then that way it becomes easier to administer the estate. Yes.
But then kumele kube umuntu lona otrustwayo but Rufus, how important is that? Because this is where abantu get duped, because they appoint umuntu thinking they can trust them. This is an elder, this has been umuntu that we've been living with forever, but nangu umuntu sefuna ukuzidlela indlu.
I can't overemphasize the point, the fact that he must be trustworthy. In fact, it's as one of the requirements that when you appoint that particular person, that person must be trustworthy, must be transparent, and must exercise his duties as the executor or the trustee as per the act, not in favor of somebody else or for his personal gain. It should be to the benefit of all the beneficiaries in that house. Yes.
All right. Yes. Well, siyabonga kakhulu. Alternatively, just thintana Nothemba lana uzokwazi ukuthi anisize. Sis Nothemba, siyabonga kakhulu Ntokazi. I'm sure you deal with such cases a lot, so you'll be getting a lot of referrals from le show le Yilungelo Lakho. Siyabonga kakhulu. But Rufus Ramoneta, the Deputy Master of the High Court, siyabonga kakhulu with your contributions. Mbukeli, we've come to the end of our show. Thank you so much ukuthi nisjoyine namhlanje. Keep those emails coming. Ngiyazi ukuthi mengiphuma la studio ngizothi mengifika nje office downstairs email ikhona nibuze imibuzo isho iqale ngo4:30, but then sizowa forward to the relevant authorities and hopefully nizokhona ukuthi nithole usizo lapho. Mbukeli, siyabonga kakhulu. Nisale kahle emakhaya. Hey people, when you choosing an executor of my estate, thembani loyo muntu, kungabi umuntu ngoba nithi niyamthemba ukuthi sikhule sonke. Abantu baqamba amanga la ngaphandle. Nisale kahle.
Yilungelo